Welcome to your personalized deep dive
Okay.
into Indian real estate in 2025.
Right.
We're going to be diving into the Cyril on Indian Real Estate Report 2025 that you sent over.
Yep.
And trust me,
Go.
it's a gold mine. We're talking economic forecasts, FDI trends, hot investment spots.
You got it.
You ready to get our hands dirty?
Absolutely. I think you'll find some real surprises in this report.
All right, let's jump right in.
Okay.
The report starts with India's overall economic outlook.
Right.
6.6% GDP growth projected for 2025. That's big.
Right out of the gate, we see India flexing its economic muscle.
Right.
But it's not just about the percentage.
Right.
The IMF actually predicts India surpassing Japan
Wow.
as the fourth largest global economy by 2025.
That puts things into perspective. And
Yeah.
what does this economic powerhouse mean for real estate?
Everything. A strong economy fuels demand for office space, residential properties,
Right.
warehousing, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And that, my friend, is where the opportunities lie.
Okay, so India's economy is booming.
Yeah.
That brings us to FDI.
Okay.
The report says FDI in India has increased 20 times
Wow.
since 2000.
Yeah.
That's insane. By late 2024, it hit $1.03 trillion.
That's a tidal wave of foreign investment,
Right.
and it signals a crucial shift.
Okay.
India is actively courting global capital, particularly with its liberalized FDI policies.
Yeah.
They're even opening up the space sector.
So India is rolling out the red carpet for foreign investors.
They are.
But hold on. The report also mentions that foreign institutional investors, those FIIs, are pulling back from Indian equities.
Oh,
What's going on there?
it's a fascinating dynamic. Think of it like a balancing act.
Okay.
While overall FDI is soaring,
Mm-hmm.
FIIs are getting spooked by rising U.S. Treasury yields,
Right.
making them seem like a safer bet.
Yeah.
Plus, there's always a perceived risk with emerging markets.
So is that bad news for India?
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Here's the kicker. Domestic investors are stepping in to fill the void left by the FIIs. It shows a growing confidence in the Indian market from within.
So it's almost like a vote of confidence from India's own people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're seeing the potential and they're putting their money where their mouth is.
Okay, let's talk about what everyone's waiting for.
Okay.
Property prices. The report mentions a 21% jump in average prices across the top 7 cities in 2024.
Now we're getting to the heart of it.
Yeah.
And this isn't just about those major metropolitan areas.
Right.
What's really interesting is the rise of Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities.
The report calls them investment hotspots, right?
Exactly.
I'm thinking places like Jaipur, Coimbatore, maybe even smaller cities like Jodhpur.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's a ripple effect.
Mm-hmm.
People are seeking more affordable options.
Right.
Plus, the rise of remote work means they don't need to be tied to those big city centers anymore.
So people are looking beyond the usual suspects.
They are.
But what's driving this shift specifically?
We'll take Jaipur, for example.
Okay.
The report highlights its booming retail scene,
Right?
fueled by tourism and cultural attractions.
Right.
People are drawn to his unique character, and that spills over into the real estate market.
It's like a whole lifestyle shift.
It is.
People want space, affordability,
Yeah.
and maybe a little bit of that exotic charm.
I think so.
Okay, enough about residential. Let's talk offices.
Okay.
The report says office leasing activity hit a record 79 million square feet
Wow.
across India's top 9 cities in 2024.
Yeah.
That's a huge
amount of space.
It's a direct reflection of India's economic engine roaring back to life post-pandemic.
Right.
Companies are expanding hiring,
Mm-hmm.
and that translates into demand for office space.
And who's leading the pack? Bengaluru, right?
Bengaluru is a powerhouse,
Yeah.
absorbing a whopping 28% of that total office space.
Right.
It's really cemented its position as India's Silicon Valley.
But within these cities, the report also breaks down the data by specific areas.
It does. For instance, it mentions the most expensive office space in Delhi NCR is in the CBD,
Right.
while Noida's Sector 62 offers the lowest rates.
Mm.
Why such a drastic difference?
Location.
Of course.
It's all about access.
Yeah,
The CBD is the heart of the action,
right.
with established infrastructure and prime real estate,
Mm-hmm.
hence the high prices.
Right.
But as you move further out, like Noida Sector 62,
Okay.
you find more affordable options.
So there's a trade-off.
There is.
You pay a premium for prime location,
Right.
but you can find deals if you're willing to venture out a bit.
Exactly.
Okay, on to the next big thing, warehousing.
Right.
The report shows it popping up everywhere, from Delhi NCR to Bengaluru.
Warehousing is the unsung hero of this whole story.
Yeah.
It's the backbone of a growing economy,
Right.
supporting e-commerce,
Mm-hmm.
logistics, everything that keeps goods moving.
Yeah.
And investors are noticing,
Okay.
in the second quarter of FY24,
Mm.
private equity investments in Indian real estate, primarily warehousing,
Okay.
hit a 3-year high of $2.5 billion.
Wow. $2.5 billion.
It is.
That's serious money pouring into this sector.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
As e-commerce explodes in India,
Right.
you need those massive warehouses to store and distribute goods efficiently.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
Okay, so we've got this bird's eye view of India's economic landscape
They do.
and its impact on real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's zoom in on some specific cities.
Okay.
The report gets into the nitty-gritty details of Delhi NCR, Bengaluru, Jaipur,
Yeah.
and even smaller players like Jodhpur and Udaipur.
What's fascinating is how each city has its own unique story.
Right.
For instance, Jodhpur's real estate growth is fueled by the government's proposed special economic zone.
Okay.
While Jaipur thrives on tourism,
Right.
it highlights the diverse factors driving growth across India.
And remember, we're just scratching the surface here.
We are.
This report goes deep with details on land rates, specific deals, upcoming projects,
Yeah.
and rental trends in individual neighborhoods.
It's an incredible resource for anyone looking to understand the nuances of the Indian real estate market.
Right.
And that's exactly what we'll do in this deep dive.
Perfect. So let's start by unpacking one of the most dynamic markets,
Okay.
Delhi NCR.
Right.
This region seems to have it all from commercial hubs to residential hotspots.
Like a melting pot of activity.
Right.
And the report highlights the different flavors of each sub-market.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fascinating.
Okay. Let's unpack Delhi NCR.
Right.
The report mentions Gurugram emerging as a tech hub,
Right.
Noida attracting startups,
Yeah.
and even older areas like Rohini seeing a resurgence in residential demand.
It's almost like a microcosm of India's diverse economy
Yeah.
within Delhi NCR.
Right.
And that diversity makes it resilient.
Right.
You've got the established players in Gurugram,
Right.
the fresh energy of startups in Noida,
Mm-hmm.
and the steady demand in those older,
Yeah.
more familiar neighborhoods.
Right.
It creates a balanced ecosystem.
Right. And the report dives into the numbers, too.
It does.
It mentions that around 4.5 million square feet of new office supply was added to NCR micromarkets in 2024.
Right.
Plus, they're expecting another 10.5 million square feet through 2027.
Wow.
That's a lot of new office space.
It is. And that's where the report gets really interesting
Yeah.
for you, the potential investor.
Okay.
See, Gurugram is expected to account for a whopping 50% of that upcoming supply,
Wow.
followed by Noida Expressway at 25% and Delhi Arosity at 15%.
Okay.
What does that tell you?
Well, to me, it sounds like Gurugram is the place to be
Exactly.
for commercial real estate.
And the rental trends back that up.
Okay.
Rents have gone up in most micro markets by about 7% year on year.
Okay.
That's because you've got this steady demand from
nice.
companies wanting to be in Gurugram,
Yeah.
but limited supply of quality office space.
Right.
It's a classic supply-demand scenario
Yeah.
that benefits landlords.
So if I'm looking at investing in office space,
Right.
Gurugram is a good bet, right?
Seems like it.
But what about the cost?
Okay.
The report breaks down rental rates by area.
Yeah.
And in 2024, the CBD was the most expensive at about INR 319.8 per square foot per month.
That's the premium you pay for being in the heart of Gurugram's business district.
Yeah.
But remember, you don't always have to go for the most expensive option.
Right.
The report also mentions that Noida Sector 62 offered office space at the lowest rate,
Oh, okay.
around INR 59.4 per square foot per month.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
It is.
But wouldn't that also mean lower rental income potential?
Possibly, but there's also the potential for higher appreciation.
Okay.
Noida Sector 62 is an up-and-coming area.
Yeah.
If it continues to attract startups and businesses,
Right.
those lower rents today
Mm-hmm.
could turn into significant profits down the line.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the risk and the potential reward.
Okay. I'm starting to see how this report can help someone make informed investment decisions.
Right.
But Delhi NCR isn't just about offices, right?
No, it's not.
What about retail?
The retail scene is booming.
Yeah.
Think bustling main streets and malls packed with shoppers.
Right.
For instance, Kana Place saw a major jump in rental rates in 2024.
Okay.
They went from INR 700 to 1,200 per square foot per month in 2023 to a whopping INR 1,200 to 1,500 per square foot per month in 2024.
That's almost double in some cases.
It is.
Why the sudden spike?
It's simple demand.
Okay.
Kind of place is a prime shopping destination.
Right.
And as more people have money to spend,
Hmm.
those retailers are willing to pay top dollar for those prime locations.
Right.
It's the same story with malls like DLF Mall of India in Noida and Ambience Mall in Gurugram.
Yeah.
They're pulling in big crowds, and that means high demand for retail space.
So even if I'm not into office space, there's still potential for solid returns in the retail sector.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But here's something to consider.
Yeah.
While the high-end malls are doing well,
Right.
there's also a growing trend of smaller,
Okay.
more niche retail spaces popping up.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about catering to specific demographics and creating unique shopping experiences.
Interesting. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about the industrial and warehousing segment in Delhi NCR.
All right.
The report says this segment is a major demand driver in India, with Delhi NCR seeing around 5.8 million square feet of space transactions in 2024.
And here's where those logistics and 3PL companies come into play.
Yeah.
They're gobbling up space,
Right.
accounting for a 50% share of leasing activity.
Wow.
Noida and Farrukhnagar are the hotspots,
Okay.
dominating the 2024 leasing landscape.
Makes sense given all that e-commerce growth we talked about earlier.
Exactly, and what's interesting is the type of space these companies are demanding.
Okay.
The report highlights that they want high-quality,
Mm-hmm.
compliant spaces that meet international standards.
Okay.
Over 90% of absorption is for Grade A warehouses.
So what does grade A even mean?
It's all about quality and features.
Okay.
Think modern facilities,
Okay.
high ceilings, efficient layouts,
Yeah.
top-notch security and fire safety systems.
Right.
Basically the kind of warehouse that global logistics giants expect.
So if I'm a developer looking to build warehouses in Delhi NCR,
Right.
I better make sure they're grade A.
You got it.
Otherwise, I'm going to be left behind.
Precisely. And when it comes to specific locations,
Yeah.
the report provides a wealth of information.
Okay.
For instance, in Munka, land rates range from INR 20 to 60 million per acre,
Okay.
while in Noida, they're significantly higher,
Right.
at INR 390 to 395 million per acre.
Wow, that's quite a difference.
It is.
Why such a huge gap?
It all comes down to infrastructure and development.
Right.
Noida is a more established industrial hub with better infrastructure,
Mm-hmm.
which drives up land prices.
Right.
Munka, on the other hand,
Okay.
offers more affordable options,
Yeah.
but might require some investment in infrastructure.
Okay. So if I'm looking for a bargain, Munka might be worth considering.
It might be.
But if I want a prime location with established infrastructure, I'd be looking at Noida.
Right.
Makes sense.
Exactly. And remember, the report also lists specific lease transactions.
Okay.
For example, Maruti Suzuki leased 350,000 square feet in Jindal Logistics Park on Toru Road,
Wow.
while Delivery leased 240,000 square feet in Pragati Logistics Park on the same road.
Those are big names.
They are.
That's a good sign for the warehousing market in those areas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It shows that major players are confident in the long-term potential of Delhi NCR's warehousing sector.
All right, I think we've covered Delhi NCR pretty thoroughly.
I think so too.
Let's shift gears now and head south to Bengaluru,
Okay.
the Silicon Valley of India.
Bengaluru is a fascinating case study.
Right.
It's a prime example of how a thriving IT sector can transform a city's real estate market.
Right. Remember that record office leasing activity across India?
Yeah.
Well, the report says Bengaluru absorbed a whopping 28% of that total.
It's like the engine of India's tech boom.
Yeah.
It is, and that's attracting businesses of all sizes,
Right.
from established tech giants to fresh-faced startups.
Mhm.
The city's entrepreneurial ecosystem is thriving,
Right.
and that translates into a constant demand for office space.
So if I'm looking at investing in office space, Bengaluru is a safe bet.
It's definitely a market to watch,
Okay.
and the vacancy rate is encouraging.
Okay, what's that at?
It's hovering around 12–14%,
Okay.
indicating a healthy balance between supply and demand.
What does that mean for someone looking to invest?
Well, a low vacancy rate means that landlords have more leverage.
Right.
They're not struggling to fill their spaces,
Right.
so they can command higher rents.
Right.
And that, my friend, is good news for investors.
Okay, so Bengaluru is a hotbed for tech,
It is.
attracting big companies and startups alike. But within the city, are there specific areas that stand out in terms of investment potential?
Absolutely. The report breaks it down.
Okay.
For instance, prime office rentals in Bengaluru range from INR 80 to 110 per square foot per month.
Okay.
That's competitive compared to other major cities in India.
So it's a balance of high demand and relatively affordable rents.
It is.
But what about within the city?
Okay.
The report mentions the CBD and the outer ring road, right?
Right. And just like we saw in Delhi NCR location, plays a major role.
Okay.
In the CBD, rentals range from INR 100 to 140 per square foot per month,
Okay.
reflecting that prime location.
Right.
But if you're looking for more affordable options,
Mm-hmm.
the Outer Ring Road offers rentals from INR 75 to 100 per square foot per month.
So there are options for different budgets and investment strategies.
There are.
Okay, enough about offices. What about retail in Bengaluru?
The retail scene is buzzing with activity,
Okay.
with the total leasing of around 2.05 million square feet
Yeah.
in 2024.
Wow.
It's clear that consumer spending is strong,
Right.
and retailers are responding by expanding their presence in the city.
And where are they setting up shop?
The report highlights Indiranagar,
Okay.
Banagata Road, and Kormangala as major retail hubs.
Mm-hmm.
These areas attract a mix of local and international brands, catering to a wide range of consumers.
So it's a diverse retail landscape with something for everyone.
It is.
But what about vacancy rates?
Oh.
Are there enough spaces available for new retailers?
That's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
Vacancy rates are tight in most micro markets, hovering around 9–12%.
Okay.
That's due to sustained demand and limited supply of quality retail space.
So it's a competitive market.
It is.
What does that mean for rental trends?
Well, limited supply and high demand usually lead to one thing:
Yeah.
rising rents.
Right.
And that's exactly what we're seeing in Bengaluru.
Okay.
Overall, rentals across prominent main streets in the city
Mm-hmm.
have seen an average 4 or 5% year-on-year growth.
So even if you're not a retailer yourself,
Right.
investing in retail space in Bengaluru could be a lucrative option.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially if you can snag a property in one of those prime retail locations.
Right.
But here's the thought.
Okay.
While malls and main streets are thriving, there's also a growing trend of pop-up shops and online retailers.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dynamic landscape that requires adaptability.
Okay, last but not least, let's talk about warehousing in Bengaluru.
Okay.
This city seems to be a magnet for logistics and e-commerce giants.
It is, and the numbers back it up.
Yeah.
Bengaluru absorbed a massive 5.1 million square feet of warehousing space in 2024.
Wow.
That's a testament to its position as a major e-commerce and logistics hub.
So where are all these warehouses popping up?
The report highlights Hasodapina,
Okay.
Neelamangala, and Dabasbeet,
Yeah.
along with Bidadi, as the major warehousing hubs.
Okay.
They account for a whopping 70% of transactions in 2024.
Why the specific areas?
It's all about location and infrastructure.
Okay.
These areas are strategically located,
Right.
with good connectivity to major highways and transportation networks.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, they offer the kind of space and infrastructure
Right.
that large e-commerce and logistics companies require.
And who are the main players driving this demand?
As you might expect, e-commerce players are leading the way,
Right.
generating almost 40% of the demand.
Okay.
But they're not alone. 3PL and FMCG firms are also major contributors.
So it's a diverse mix of industries fueling the growth of Bengaluru's warehousing market.
It is.
But what about the future? Is this growth sustainable?
That's where infrastructure comes in.
Okay.
The report points out several proposed infrastructure projects,
Mm-hmm.
including industrial and economic corridors like BMIC and CBIC.
Okay.
Plus, there's the upcoming Peripheral Ring Road,
Yep.
PRR, project.
Right.
These infrastructure improvements will further enhance connectivity and reduce transportation costs.
So it's like a positive feedback loop.
It is.
Infrastructure improvements attract businesses,
Right.
which drives demand for warehousing space,
Mm-hmm.
which in turn encourages further infrastructure development.
Exactly. It's a recipe for continued growth in Bengaluru's warehousing market.
Right.
And for investors, it means opportunities for long-term gains.
Okay, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What about land rates and rental trends for warehousing in Bengaluru?
Just like with office space, location plays a big role.
Right.
For instance, in Nelamangala, land rates range from INR 1,200 to 1,800 per square foot.
Okay.
While in Hoskote, they're slightly lower,
Mm.
ranging from INR 1,000 to 1,500 per square foot.
So there are options for different budgets,
There are.
just like with office space.
Exactly. And when it comes to rentals,
Yeah?
Nelamangala's Grade A warehousing space commands INR 22 to 24 per square foot per month.
Okay.
In Hoskote, you're looking at INR 18 to 20 per square foot per month for Grade A space,
Okay.
and INR 16 to 18 per square foot per month for Grade B space.
Okay, so we've got the price ranges, but are there any specific deals
There are.
that illustrate the kind of activity happening in Bengaluru's warehousing market?
The report mentions a couple of big ones.
Okay.
Mahindra Logistics leased 400,000 square feet in a warehouse located in Dobaspe.
Wow.
And Amazon leased 300,000 square feet of space in a warehouse situated on the outskirts of the city.
Wow, those are some serious players making some serious moves.
It shows the confidence these companies have in Bengaluru's warehousing market.
Yeah.
They're not just dipping their toes in the water.
Right.
They're diving in head first.
Okay, let's move away from the tech hub for a bit and head to Jaipur,
Okay.
the Pink City.
All right.
It's known for its heritage and culture, but the report highlights its emergence as a real estate hotspot, too.
Jaipur is a fascinating blend of tradition and modernity.
Right.
It's a major tourist destination, but it's also attracting businesses and investors.
Mm-hmm.
And that's creating a unique dynamic in the real estate market.
The report mentions significant activity in the retail and warehousing segments, right?
Exactly. Jaipur saw an absorption of around 290,000 square feet of retail space in 2024.
Okay.
That's impressive considering it's not a metro city.
So what's driving this retail demand in Jaipur?
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
Jaipur is a magnet for tourists,
Right.
both domestic and international.
Yeah.
And those tourists need places to shop, eat, and be entertained.
So it's a tourism-driven retail market.
Precisely. And the city has responded
Yeah.
by developing world-class hotels and retail outlets
Right.
that cater to those tourists.
So if I'm looking to invest in retail space,
Right.
Jaipur might be a good option?
It's definitely worth considering.
Okay.
But here's something to think about.
Okay.
While tourism is a major driver,
Right.
Jaipur's retail market is also evolving to cater to the growing local population.
Mm-hmm.
There's a rising middle class with disposable income,
Right.
and that's creating demand for a wider range of retail options.
So it's a mix of tourist dollars and local spending
It is.
that's fueling the growth of Jaipur's retail sector.
Right.
But what about specifics? Are there certain types of retail outlets that are doing particularly well?
The report highlights a few key categories.
Okay.
Apparel and accessories, fine jewelry,
Mm-hmm.
and handloom and craft outlets.
That makes sense given Jaipur's reputation for textiles and handicrafts.
Exactly. It's all about leveraging the city's unique strengths and cultural heritage.
Okay, let's talk numbers. What about supply and rental rates in Jaipur's retail market?
Well, around 200,000 square feet of prime retail space was added in 2024.
Oh.
Showing that developers are responding to the growing demand.
Right.
And rental rates typically vary between INR 140 and 250 per square foot per month in most micro-markets.
So compared to the metro cities like Delhi NCR and Bengaluru,
Right.
Jaipur offers more affordable rental rates for retail space.
Absolutely. And that's a major draw for retailers looking to expand their presence in India.
Okay, enough about retail. Let's talk about warehousing.
Okay.
The report mentions that Jaipur had a fantastic year in terms of industrial and warehousing leasing in 2024.
It did.
Yeah.
And that's largely due to its proximity to Delhi NCR.
Okay.
Jaipur is emerging as an alternative warehousing hub
Okay.
for companies that want to be close to the capital,
Right.
but don't want to pay those sky-high rents in Delhi NCR.
So it's like a spillover effect.
Exactly, and the numbers back it up. Jaipur saw an absorption of around 1.2 million square feet of warehousing space in 2024.
That's impressive.
It is. And the Ring Road area is emerging as a hotspot for warehousing demand.
Why that particular area?
It's all about location and connectivity.
Right.
The Ring Road provides easy access to Delhi NCR and other major cities in Rajasthan.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's close to major transportation networks,
Right.
which is essential for efficient logistics operations.
And who are the key players driving this demand for warehousing space in Jaipur?
The usual suspects, 3PL and e-commerce companies.
So the e-commerce boom is impacting even Tier 2 cities like Jaipur.
Absolutely, it's a nationwide phenomenon.
Okay, last question. What about rental rates for warehousing space in Jaipur?
They're quite competitive, ranging between INR 12 and 25 per square foot per month.
Okay.
Significantly lower than Delhi NCR.
So if I'm a company looking for affordable warehousing space near Delhi NCR,
Right.
Jaipur seems like a good bet.
It's definitely a market worth exploring, especially if you're looking for long-term growth potential. It is, and it's a sign of increasing consumer spending and confidence in the city's retail market.
What about rental rates for retail spaces in Bhubaneswar?
Retail rental rates vary between INR 200 and 300 per square foot per month, depending on the location and type of retail space.
Okay, let's shift our focus to the industrial and warehousing segment in Bhubaneswar.
Bhubaneswar's industrial and warehousing sector is developing steadily,
Okay.
driven by government initiatives
Mm-hmm.
and the growth of manufacturing and food processing industries.
The report mentions that Bhubaneswar and its peripheral areas have many developed and upcoming industrial areas promoted by the government of Odisha.
Yes, the government is actively promoting industrial development in the state,
Right.
which is attracting new businesses and creating demand for industrial and warehousing space.
What are some of the well-established industrial estates in the vicinity of Bhubaneswar?
The report identifies Kordacharabar Mancheswar and Chandaka, i.e., as well-established industrial estates in the vicinity of Bhubaneswar, having major manufacturing and food processing units.
So those areas would be ideal for companies looking for ready-to-occupy industrial space.
They would, and the report also mentions that Puri Bypass Road
Okay.
houses many small and medium warehousing units catering to transit storage.
That makes sense given its proximity to the highway. Are there any insights into specific industrial areas and their characteristics?
Yes, the report mentions that Chandaka industrial area has mostly institutional players,
Okay.
while Mancheswar and Jagatpur have many MSMEs catering to packaging units.
Mm.
Chatabar has come up as a textile park,
Okay.
catering to cloth stitching and packaging units.
So it seems like different industrial areas cater to different types of businesses.
Yes, and that specialization can be beneficial for companies looking for a supportive ecosystem for their specific industry.
Okay, what about land rates and warehousing rentals in these areas?
The report indicates that land rates vary between INR 5 and 9 per square feet per month,
Okay.
while warehousing rentals vary between INR 16 and 28 per square feet per month.
So it seems like Bhubaneswar offers competitive rates for industrial and warehousing space.
It does, and with the government's continued focus on industrial development,
Right.
we can expect this sector to continue to grow in the coming years.
This has been a fascinating deep dive into the Indian real estate market.
It has.
It's incredible to see the growth and diversity across different cities and sectors.
It's amazing to see how each city is leveraging its unique strengths
Right.
to attract businesses and investments.
From the tech hubs of Bengaluru and Hyderabad to the emerging industrial centers of Coimbatore and Bhubaneswar,
Yeah.
the Indian real estate market offers a wide range of opportunities for investors and businesses alike.
And with the government's focus on infrastructure development and economic growth,
Right.
the future of Indian real estate looks bright.
Thank you for guiding us through this complex landscape.
It was my pleasure.
And to you listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Indian real estate in 2025.
Yeah.
We hope you found it insightful and informative. Remember, this report is just the starting point.
It is.
Now it's up to you to explore further.
Right.
Delve deeper into specific areas that pique your interest
Yeah.
and make informed decisions about your real estate journey. Happy exploring.